Welcome to Thriving Live. This is our second episode. Our first one happened on 2/22 of 22, which was a fantastically auspicious day. We had a wonderful series of visitors and presenters on that day. It was a epic launch party of over 8 hours. And I had a lot of fun, and I think all the participants had a lot of fun. We covered a bunch of territory. And with these sessions, these live sessions on Tuesdays at 2, my aim is to continue presenting really useful content and to talk about tools and practices and things like that I use that I have used and continue to use that have helped me move from surviving to thriving as an artist, as a human, as a parent, as a community member, like all the ways that these things have helped me, because I went from a very, very low place to a place that I feel like it's all happening. I'm really psyched. So my name is Gabrielle Senza, and I am an artist and a mom and a community activist and a whole lot of other things, but I'll just kind of wrap it up with saying I'm also a coach. This is a big passion of mine. So the four main things that I'm playing with right now in my life is my art world, which is my studio here. So lots of different kinds of art that's being made. Invisibility Lab is this amazing project which I started in Berlin, which helps create situations where people feel very seen and heard and understood and held. Ideally, when we're in person, these events are just so incredibly moving. And that's a main passion of mine. And then there's also the Walk Unafraid Foundation, which I created to support other creative activists doing amazing work in their own communities. And so that's Walk Unafraid. And then there's the coaching, which I'm relatively new to in a formal way, but I realized, like, as a domestic violence and sexual assault counselor, and as a victims advocate, and as a community activist, and as a mentor and of interns and all that, in effect, I have been coaching for decades, teaching as well. So I'm really thrilled to be able to create a platform that will allow me the opportunity to share some of these things that have helped me, in the hopes that it would also help others. And so that's what brought me to Thriving Live and this show. So that's my little intro. And now I would say what you can expect is that I strive very diligently to make this a very safe space, a very inclusive space, and ultimately, I hope, a very diverse space where all voices, all genders, all people feel really comfortable to come in and share their experiences or bring a question or a problem or whatever it is, if they're just curious, to come on in and feel safe here. So I and or my team would keep track of the chats and make sure that it's all really good, very positive, and very, as safe as we can make it. And in terms of what's going to happen today in this session, you can expect to have a little bit of a pleasure first practice, which is how I always like to start these things. We will have a topic of the day and a tool of the day and a period for questions and answers. Sometimes they'll be very short. These sessions might be a half an hour at the most. Sometimes they might go longer. Depends on what's happening. Okay, so that's sort of the outline. And then, after the Q&A, I always like to get wins, insights, and learnings. What sort of is your takeaway from the session? And then if you're interested, you can also learn how to continue working with me. So it's time for pleasure first. So I see, and I think you're both sitting, is that right? Okay, if you're sitting, I'm going to invite you to stand for just a couple of moments. It'll be a short pleasure first. And if you can't stand for whatever reason, I will try to design this to be able to be done also sitting in a chair. So I would like you to first just shake your right hand and loosen it up, and shake out your forearm a little more. And then your upper arm as well, but don't overdo it, don't hurt yourself. And then like let it fly around and move, but be gentle, because you know, if you haven't been moving your arms and opening up your shoulders in a while, it could be painful or hurt. All right, so shake it, shake, 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 shake. And now bring it to stillness by your side. And notice the sensations that are happening. And think about how you would describe them. Is it tingly? Is it vibrational? Is it hot, cold? Stillness, noticing what's happening as the blood and the body stills. And feeling your feet on the ground, maybe repositioning a little bit. And we're going to do the left side too. Shake your hand and your forearm, and your upper arm and your shoulders. And swing your arm around in all the ways without overdoing it, without hurting yourself. And just noticing how that all feels, and then give it like extra shape, extra loose. Letting that settle by your side and noticing the sensations. See if it's any different from the other side. And now just rolling your shoulders back one at a time, sort of up and back, one after the other. And now moving it the other way. And now rounding your back, like as though you're doing a cat and cow on the ground, but you're just doing it in the air. And then open up your chest. For those of us who spend a lot of time on computers, you might notice how this feels. Allow yourself to just do any kind of shimmies and rotations of your upper body, and you might find that your hips want to participate as well, because why not? Right? And then you can bring your notice the back really still wants to open up. You can bring your tuck your tailbone in. You might need to bend your legs a little for that. And then push your bum out a bit. And then bring it, tuck the tailbone again. And then push your bum back. I'll do it one more time, forward and back. And now we'll do the sides. I kind of like this sort of 1, 2, push, 1, 2, push, right? So you're stretching a little more on the third. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Practice your salsa. 1, 2, 3. Salsa. And then just rotate your whole hips, your whole body as it wishes to move. Full freedom here. And then we're just going to shake up our legs a little bit too to get them a little more awakened, as again, sitting. You can start with your foot and your lower leg and up through your knee. Be careful of your knees as you shake, and also your thighs. I always notice that my hands want to do this even though I'm just trying to move my leg. Sympathetic movement, I guess. Whew. And then the other leg, start with your foot, shaking it out, and the lower leg, and your knee, moving it around gently. Shake the thigh. And then just notice as you get still again, what and if there's something else your body's craving. You know, maybe it wants more hip rotations, maybe it wants more of a hip opening. I'm noticing mine does. So I'm just crossing my leg over my knee and bending, but that's telling me I need to get on the mat again. So just notice how you're feeling as you get still again. Noticing how that affects your presence in the space and on this call. Noticing if it's helped move anything away from whatever we came in from, so that you're just here, present, and comfortable. And when you're ready, you can just take a seat if you want, or give yourself any more movement that your body's craving. Drink your water. If you have any, highly recommended. Okay, so the topic for today, well, what are you noticing? You want to share what's going on in your, how you feel now compared to when you came in?
I definitely feel like lighter and more, now that I have moved, my body wants to keep moving kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine too.
Yeah, I feel enervated. When I did the first arm and you asked how it felt, I was thinking tingly is not the right word, but it's like I couldn't think of a better one. And then I thought about it as like when those images of the older images of suns with the rays coming out. I was kind of like that. And when I did the second arm, I could feel like this dynamicness between the two hands at the end of my arms hanging down. That reminds me of like when you do Reiki or touch healing, touch for health, and you feel, yeah, but it was like across my whole body from hand to hand. And I have to go. It's 2:30, so I'm going to say goodbye. And my phone's ringing, so I'm going to run over.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Tyler.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, so more movement, right? Like
Yeah.
movement,
Once you move once, your body's like more, especially when we sit all day.
Yeah, and sometimes it just feels like such an effort to do any movement, and like you have to have some kind of big commitment, like go do 40 minutes of yoga or do a hardcore workout. And actually, like the body is so super happy with even just the littlest bit.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. And we get to do this as many times as we want. I have my yoga therapist and coach says those matter just as much as a big workout. So it doesn't matter how many times you pick up the weight, it's still the same weight, right? So do it in small batches if you want to. Like that's totally cool. It all adds up. So I love that. I love that. So today's topic of the day is kind of working with, well, what I was thinking was overwhelming stress and anxiety. However, I'm totally open to something else. If there's something else that feels really alive for you that you'd like to work on.
Overwhelming stress and anxiety fits the bill today. So that, yeah, if that feels good to you, that feels good to me.
Okay, perfect. That's great. So there was a time in my life not too long ago, like I'd say probably we're in 22, so probably 5 or 6 years ago, where I felt like every day, like I was just getting more and more buried under rocks, just like it was just so hard. And there was a lot going on with my son, who was really struggling emotionally with mental health and stuff like that. And I was definitely also suffering some pretty challenging mental health things, but more like because I was the only parent and I was trying to manage all this. Plus, I had a lot of financial instability at the time. So it kind of felt like, oh my God, I don't even know how to get out of this. I don't know how to handle this. I didn't have family close by. I don't have family close by. And it just was like stuff that I couldn't really even ask my community to help me with, or I didn't think I could. So I happened to come across some things online, searching for some like positive vibe stuff, and the Abraham Hicks and the Joe Dispenza stuff, and some really, really helpful things. And then I joined this coaching program, these amazing guys named Guy and Elan Ferdman, and they run a group called Satori Prime. And it's a free Facebook group, and they have free events, much like this, actually. Like, this is partly what inspired me to do this, is that on Tuesdays they have a live call and they talk about stuff. And it was so helpful, like the way they help me switch my thoughts around certain things. Like, here are a couple of really basic ones. We have the tendency and the habit say, I have to go do blah, blah, blah. I have to pay my bills. I have to, drive my kid to school. Well, what happens to the body and our mind when we replace the word have to, the two words, with get to? I get to pay my bills. I get to drive my kid to school. I get to go and buy the groceries. Not one of my favorite things to do, by the way, but putting it in a new frame is like, oh yeah, that is kind of a cool privilege to have, right? Like, I can go buy groceries. I can go make choices about what I want to eat. And so I get to do this, So that was a really helpful thing. And then someone also happened to mention, I think in that same group, the app called Insight Timer. And they were doing like a meditation challenge. And so I was like, okay, I'll look it up. So I downloaded that app and started finding some really good meditations. I joined their, daily, what was it, like a 30-day meditation challenge or something. And it can be as little as a minute or 2 minutes. So I was nailing that challenge. Like, there was a whole lot of stuff in my life I could not control. I could not fix. I could not make better even. But I was kind of like at my wit's end, like, how much longer can I go on like this? I was just like waiting and wondering what's going to happen. How is this going to change? When is this going to change? And just doing anything I could think of that was like moving in that direction. So first rule, once I made that meditation challenge commitment, I committed to not looking at anything on my phone in the morning, except for turning on that Insight Timer and choosing a meditation. Like, that's it. And nothing else was allowed. So you can imagine how that changed the beginning of my day. And then, of course, once I got, like kind of excited about this challenge and like the every day having, progressing through that, it was so helpful. It kind of fed me more and more, like, oh, I'm doing it. So just shifting the focus of attention, shifting the words that we say are tremendous, so tremendous. Now, on another thing that I had learned then, actually even further back, was like EFT tapping. Do you know about tapping? emotional freedom technique. So that was another calming technique tool that I learned. There's an app for that also. I think it's called Tapping. And that was really helpful in processing a lot of things in my life over the, especially because I am more, I like movement, I like touch, I was like, oh, I really like that. And it has to do with like where we're doing our tapping. So that's something I teach, and it's really helpful as well for things like that. And then other ways that I've learned to address sort of these bigger things. Well, I don't know if they're bigger, but other ways of addressing like anxiety and overwhelm are using these tools that are related to the coaching work that I've been trained in recently. So the accelerated evolution, so they're just different processes. So we could do a process on that if you'd like. And there are a few different ways. How about if we start with a little bit of a mind clearing. And so Tyler, I would ask you if you're willing to be the volunteer here.
Sure.
Super. I will give you the instruction, and then you will just answer, and then I'll say thank you. And then I'll ask you again. I'll just prompt you a number of times. So then we see what the themes are that are coming up and what really needs to be worked on or wants to be worked on. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so first, we again get present and see each other. I see you as a conscious being with choice. And I thank you for being here. It's really great that you are in the space with me today. So tell me something that's coming up for you around anxiety or overwhelm.
Well, I feel like I had a spike today. I was really happy in the morning. Supposed to have a client call this morning, and I was super stoked for it. I was really feeling ready. They'd already said yes to working with me, knowing my prices and things like that. And they ended up canceling right before and not rescheduling. And so I put a lot of like emotional, I think, excitement on that, weight on that. Cause I was like, okay, it's also the first, it's going to be able to like solve all these things for me. And it didn't. So I think the like disappointment around all of what that meant really feels like strong.
Okay, great. Thank you. Disappointment is really big. Tell me something that's coming up for you around anxiety or overwhelm.
I'm anxious about money, how I'm going to make money and pay rent in the next couple of days.
Thank you. And tell me something that's coming up for you around overwhelm and anxiety.
I feel overwhelmed that I have to go looking for other jobs or ways to make money when I know how I want to make it and exact like I have that, but the overwhelm of having to go, feeling like I have to go do something else. Like it just feels so, I don't even want to do it. So it makes it overwhelming. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. Because you're desiring this other thing so much that taking this other step just feels really overwhelming.
It feels wrong. Yeah.
Thank you. Tell me something about anxiety and overwhelm.
I feel like I wake up with anxiety.
Repeat that.
I feel like I wake up with anxiety.
Okay. Yeah.
So anxiety, it feels like something that controls me. Maybe that's a way to say something about it.
Thank you. And tell me something that's coming up for you around anxiety and overwhelm.
Sometimes it feels like I know what to do to help myself, but my emotional state is just stuck in feeling whatever the feeling is. I know that there is something better on the other side of that feeling, but there's a part of me that's like, if but I just want to feel it. You know, so with anxiety and overwhelm, it feels like there's something else underneath of it that like is wanting to come out. And that's why does that make sense? Is that why it's so strong?
When you feel that, because you mentioned there's something under it
Yeah.
that wants to come out, there's something else under there.
Yeah,
Can you locate that in your body? Can you feel that tension? I heard you say there's an emotional state that is so strong. It blocks the moving forward, keeps you stuck in wanting to feel or feeling the emotion.
yeah.
Okay. Where do you
Yeah.
feel that?
I feel it like right where your diaphragm is, like almost right under the solar plexus. Feels like it's sitting underneath of it.
And just to get clear on like how strong are you feeling this problem? So could we turn this into a subjective problem, what we call subjective problem in our coaching training? What I wrote down is I feel like there's an emotional state that's blocking, keeping me stuck in feeling the emotions instead of
Mhm.
moving forward. Does that sound accurate, or do you want to like revise it?
That sounds accurate. Yeah. Because it happens with anxiety and overwhelm, yes, but it also obviously happens to everything else. Any
Right.
big feeling that feels like it needs to feel heard.
Yes, it needs to feel heard. And tell me ways that it's negatively impacting your life.
It keeps me from, I feel like I could get so much more done in a day if I didn't have to handle this, deal with this, feel this, whatever, any of those words. So it keeps me from having a more quote unquote productive day. And sometimes it keeps me from seeing gratitude too, because I just feel so stuck in that. So I think it's limiting my ability to see the positive emotions on the other side.
Great. All right, thank you. And how strong does that, how big a problem is it on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 being the strongest.
8 or 9.
8 or 9, yeah. And what would be your goal? Because I can take you through a session, a little process, and we can find out what this part wants for you, and hopefully discover a way to neutralize this power that it has for you, right? Because it's really showing up as a charge that's keeping you from doing other things you want to do. So what would be a goal that you might have for addressing this today?
A way to get my brain or my body to believe that however I like handle this going forward, whether I like soothe it or listen to it, whatever the steps I take going forward with these big emotions, that my body actually believes that. Because I feel sometimes that I can tell myself something in the mind, but my body's like, but I'm still feeling this emotion, right? So I think whatever is like the goal on the other side would be to feel a clear communication with that part.
Beautiful. Feel a clear communication with that part. Thank you. Okay, so now going back into the feeling of that sensation where you're wanting to get something done, you really want to get some things done, but there's this huge emotion of anxiety and overwhelm kind of blocking you. And there's this part of you that really wants to stay in that stew, that muck, whatever you want to call it, the swamp. All right, feel that really strongly. You noticed that it was located in the diaphragm, sort of right behind the solar plexus. Is that what you said? Or in front of?
I would say behind, yeah.
Okay. And is that still its main location? You're feeling it there? Yeah, okay, good. Imagining it as a thing with characteristics. Tell me, what color would you give it?
Like a dark red.
Dark red. Okay, and about how big is it?
Feels like it takes up my whole body, really,
Okay. And
or at
how,
least my whole trunk, like the whole like big part, upper part of myself. It feels like it just, yeah, has a hold on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what is, what's the weight of it?
Very heavy, like 50 pounds.
Okay. And what shape does it have?
Kind of like a flattened disc, like an oblong disc. I almost imagine it like just slicing me through the middle. Does that make sense? Like a disc shape that's like just sitting right in the middle of my body.
And what's the sensation of it? Because you said it's very heavy. It's like the whole body. What is the sort of the physical sensation if you describe that?
Mm.
Does it feel like emotion or a hold or a tension?
Yeah, it feels like a very like heavy grip, like almost like it has really grippy gloves and it's just like hanging on.
Grippy gloves. All right, thank you. And in terms of its strength, well, first of all, does it have an age? What age would you give it?
I don't know. It feels like it's been there a long time, but I've just started to open up and feel really big emotions intentionally. And so it feels like it has been here for a long time, but hasn't been able to like come out for a long time. Does that make sense? So I guess as old as I am. So
Okay,
right, long time.
right. And yeah, it's sort of been hiding out, but now you're seeing it more often. Okay, and on a scale of 0 to 10, how strong is this sensation of this presence?
Like an 8.
Thank you. All right, so this is a part of you, as you said, and we're going to do this process called the aspectics process. So we're basically communicating with an aspect of yourself. And an aspect, because it is a part of you, we know that it actually wants the best for you. So that's the cool thing to know. There aren't parts that are like really evil and want just the worst for us. They're actually, even if they express themselves in really obnoxious, problematic ways, which we can make them really wrong and bad for and judge them terribly, and then ourselves, they actually want the best for us. So you're so right. Like, even just speaking about wanting to give it voice and find out what's going on there is just such a beautiful start to freeing, for clearing that experience, that hold that this aspect has on you. So, Tyler, I invite you to ask your aspect, or say to your aspect, and you can picture it in all the ways you just described, right? Say to it, I know you are a part of me and that you want the best for me. Okay, and you can ask it, would you communicate with me clearly so I can understand what your desires are? And see if it gives you does it give you some consent?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. So ask first of all, thank that part of you for like coming forward and giving you this time. So ask this part of you, what is your goal for me? What is it you want?
Strangely, it's coming up that it like wants me to feel the emotion through movement, which is weird, but okay. Shouldn't say weird. Weird for what I would assume my parts are going to say.
Yeah, they're very surprising, these parts. Feel the emotion through movement. So thank your part for giving you that answer. And now allow yourself to imagine that together with your part, you do accomplish this goal it has for you, which is to feel those big emotions through movement and allow it to sort of create a picture or situation where that is actually happening. And even fully realize, so you fully get what that means for them, for that part. And when you feel that it's 100% achieved, you can take your time with it, feel it fully. Just let me know. When it feels completely done, you get it. Okay, beautiful. So celebrate that. Celebrate achieving its goal for you, the first goal, which is to feel the emotions through movement, those big emotions, feeling through movement. And from this place of feeling really grounded in that accomplishment, you've got that. You know what that's about now. From that place, ask your aspect, what's your next higher goal for me? Something more important or perhaps more spiritual.
What's coming up is to use it. Like now that I've moved it, now I need to use it. I don't really know what else that means, but
And just to clarify, is the emotion or the movement?
oh, sorry, the emotion. So the kind of like once the heaviness of the emotion has moved through with movement, now it's like it's kind of saying like, okay, how can we use the feeling after the
Okay,
movement?
got it. Beautiful. So thank your aspect for the answer. It's communicating with you nice and clearly. Now imagine you and your aspect together create a situation in which that second goal is achieved, that you fully know how to and are using it. You're using the emotion. And just let your aspect guide you until it feels really complete, really done, 100%.
Okay.
Great. Celebrate that. Another accomplishment, 100% achieved. You have managed to use it, the emotion, those big emotions, just as your aspect wishes you to. It is done. So now at that joyful place of recognition and achievement, you can ask your aspect, now that we've accomplished that goal for me, tell me, what is your next higher goal for me?
It's so interesting. It's like it's fighting with itself. Not fighting, but proving wrong previous thoughts I'd felt about this part. Because what it really wants is for me to be able to see that like even in the like big feeling, it's hard to articulate, even in like the big feeling and emotion, I think it wants me to see that like just feeling it and just moving through it like can be enough. Like there's yeah, there's more there, but it feels hard to articulate. Like almost that it wants me to feel these big emotions. And the reasons it's wanting me to feel them is like, or not the reasons, as it wants me to feel them, it also wants me to recognize it, like I'm feeling them without being stuck. Right. So like I'm kind of feeling it say, like, as that big heavy thing comes up, it actually just wants me to recognize that it's heavy and then let it go, but not recognize it's heavy and say something about it because of the heaviness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is getting hard to articulate, but I feel like that's maybe what's coming up.
Perfect. Okay. Beautiful. So thank your aspect for the answer.
Yeah.
And now imagine that you and your aspect together create a situation. And here again, you can allow your your aspect to just guide you through what this might look like. And noticing what body sensations or emotions or thoughts or sentences or ideas that come through as you together with your aspect accomplish that next goal, which is being able to see that even in feeling the big emotions and moving with them, that could really just be enough. Those big emotions want to be recognized, and you can feel them without getting stuck in them. And when you feel like it's been 100% accomplished, you totally have got this. Let me know.
You can feel a lot of big emotions coming up now, even.
Yeah. Doing great.
Thank you. Okay. We are there on the other side.
100% achieved.
Yes.
You have now fulfilled this goal, which was to feel the emotions without getting stuck in them. And celebrate that. That's another big win, a big shift for you. That's great. Oh, so good, so good. So now from this place of having learned how to feel the feelings, those big emotions, and not get stuck in them, ask your aspect, what is your next higher goal for me now that we've accomplished that one?
What's funny is I'm like, there's laughter bubbling, but I think it's really just peace.
Just what? Peace?
Just peace, yeah.
Beautiful.
It feels like the aspect is saying it didn't want to make me feel this way, but it had to because I was being too stubborn.
Learning by doing. Beautiful. Thank your aspect for that answer and also for that little piece of wisdom. And now see you and your aspect creating the situation in which that goal is achieved for you, that you, Tyler, get to feel peace. You get to feel it fully. Allow it to guide you. Beautiful. When you feel it's 100% complete, let me know. Feeling peacefully. Great. Beautiful. Celebrate that. Yeah. Peace. 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 Right on. Great. Celebrating that. And from that place, turning to your aspect and saying, now that we've accomplished that goal for me to achieve peace, do you have anything higher for me? Do you have another goal?
This place now feels like honestly like a place that I desire to get to when I feel the place where I was before.
Mm.
And it just feels like it's a little less attached here. Like it just feels, I don't know, like higher or more expansive, or like that's the only words I have for it. It just feels like bigger, more encompassing. Yeah.
So it feels more like a place than a goal.
Yeah.
Great. And just checking in again with your aspect to say, are there any higher goals for me that you want for me right now? Or is there nothing more?
Yeah, I think the only goal is to get here.
Okay. So
no, it doesn't feel like there's anything further, because I don't, beyond this, there's nothing. No. Yeah.
Well,
Beyond getting here, like this is the like, oh,
pleroma. Okay,
Yes.
so let's allow yourself to go into the pleroma, this possible goal, but possibly the higher up of pleroma. And just allow yourself to, together with your aspect, experience this fully. Experience this place that feels like that place you wish to get to when you're feeling all those big emotions. This place that's bigger and higher and more expansive. And allowing yourself to feel it fully and completely and 100%. And just checking in with your aspect again for the moment, just to be sure. This feels really great. Do you have anything higher for me? Any other goals for me? Or is this where you want me to be?
No, I think this was actually the goal the whole time.
Beautiful. So Tyler, allow yourself to really relax into this place, this expansive, higher, bigger place. Absorb it, swim around in it, really like roll around in it like it's a big fluffy cloud or something like that, just magically holding you in all the ways. And realizing that this space, this place beyond the goals, this space of higher, bigger, more expansive, is your true essence, the true essence of who you are. Imagine that true essence of you flowing out in all directions, cascading down around you, through you, up and around. There's an infinite supply of your true essence, which is this bigger, higher, more expansive energy. So imagine that, feel that aspect of you, that true essence of you flowing out in front of you infinitely. Your higher, more expansive, bigger energy. And feel that true essence of yourself flowing out behind you infinitely. It can go far, far, far away, way out of you. And feel this higher, bigger, more expansive energy that is your true essence flowing out to the left, far, far away, and flowing out of the right side, far, far away. And feel this true essence of you, this higher, more expansive, bigger energy flow way up into this universe, into the galaxy, high, high above you. And feel this true essence of yourself flowing down through your feet into the ground, through the earth, and out the other side. Allow this energy of your true essence of higher, bigger, and more expansiveness continue to cascade out in all directions. This essence of you, which is infinite, flowing out in front of you and behind you. It flows to the left and to the right freely. And this essence of you is higher, more expansive, and bigger, flowing up into the stars and beyond, and down through the earth and beyond. There's a constant flow of your energy of being higher, more expansive, and bigger, always available to you and always flowing from you. And so recognizing that this is your true essence, we will revisit your aspects goals and see how it affects the goals. So knowing that you are this energy of higher, bigger, and more expansive energy, how does that affect the previous goal, which is for you to achieve peace?
It's over there.
Great. And how does your true essence of being higher, bigger, more expansive affect the earlier goal, which was to feel the emotions, all the big emotions, without being stuck?
From this place, that's really easy. I think it's, yeah, simple.
Great. And from this place of recognizing that you are truly higher, more expansive, and bigger energy, what does that do to the earlier goal, which was to use the emotion?
Mm. It feels like it's already doing it in this space.
Beautiful. Thank you. And how does the awareness that you are higher, more expansive, and bigger energy, this is your true essence, how does that affect the earlier goal, which was to feel the emotion through movement?
It feels like they're kind of hand in hand, like doing one produces the other. And or the more that I do want, the more that I move, the less I'm gonna have to look for that piece. You know, it's kind of, yeah, it feels like that original goal is maybe the like, yeah, the easily accessible version of peace almost.
Oh yes, the movement.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Beautiful. And tell me, is there anything that opposes integrating this part of you, this aspect that came in today?
No.
Okay,
No,
great.
the whole goal the whole time was ease.
And is there, in the future, do you think this part, this aspect could impose itself upon you against your will?
Not against my will.
Okay, great.
It's gonna show up, but I have that tool, you know.
Right. Beautiful. And is there anyone else involved in the way this aspect has shown up for you today?
No.
Okay, great, great. And so how do you feel about your original problem, which was to feel, which was recognizing that there is something that's getting in the way and needs to be expressed?
Mm. It's gone. It doesn't feel it anymore.
Not a problem. And it was an 8 or 9 out of 10 at that time. How would you rate it now?
0.
0 to 10. Wow, that's great. And in terms of your own personal goal for this session, which was to feel a clear communication with that part, done.
Yeah, feels done.
Okay, cool. So now imagine a ball of light above your head.
Mm.
It's a beautiful ball of light. It can be any color or multiple colors, however you desire it to be. You get to create this beautiful ball of light. Imagine it slowly coming down into your head and moving slowly through your whole head, down through your throat, your neck, and your shoulders. This brilliant light of energy and love, brilliance, and see it filling up through your torso, filling up the space where the aspect was taking up a lot of room. It's that sort of heavy disc thing. Now it's clear, it's open, it's filled with this light. It's replaced that space behind your diaphragm, in the solar plexus area. Imagine this light filling up all of that with just pure brilliance and your you-ness and love and peace. And see that light continue to move through your body, through your abdomen, through your pelvic floor, and down through your legs, your knees, all the way down to your ankles and your feet. You're just filled with this beautiful light. You can let it go. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back. There's no rush. Take your time. Such a feel-good state. So
Always so much stretching.
of course, and water and all the things.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're more aware of now than you were before.
I'm more aware of myself. I feel like I can feel all of my pieces now. And before it was like, I really could just feel that one thing.
Wow. What was good about doing this?
Well, it's certainly going to change my day. It's now giving me kind of like stuff I want to write about to my people later. It's given me a good tool and a good kind of answer for when I know that this part's going to show itself up again, because of course it is. They always do. And I think now it's a very clear. Before I was like, okay, it's so heavy. Like, what do you want? You know, what is it? And now it feels just like very clear that in fact, it doesn't want me to focus on it really at all. It really just wants me to feel it and not think anything about it and just let it happen, so that I can get to the peace part of it. Because if I give it too much attention, it's just going to fester, kind of thing. Like it wants to feel heavy and just have that feeling be, without any more assumptions or assignments or shoulds, you know, anything else attached to it.
Right.
And obviously the like subconscious thought that came out of like, you're being too stubborn, you know, like you're not letting yourself really just like run the full gamut of this emotion. You're getting stuck in this one spot. Yeah, I learned a lot. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. What is one one action step you can take within the next 24 hours to really ground this experience for you and the wisdom that this part gave to you today?
I can kind of mind dump in my journal right after this. I know that's always so helpful for me. And so that's immediately going to be what I do, is just take notes about everything I remembered about what just happened.
Perfect. Beautiful. That's so great. That's so, so great. Is there anything else you want to say to feel complete with this process?
No, I feel light years better. Thank you so much for taking me through that. I just feel so, I don't know, refreshed, lighter.
Mm,
Thank you.
thank you. What a treat. What a pleasure.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I love doing this. I love seeing this happen. And there was something you said, oh, with your part saying you're being so stubborn. And then the realization that it wants you to see it and not make a big deal about it or whatever, not make it wrong or whatever.
Oh,
It's so super, super helpful. And it reminded me of something I heard someone say, and I'm not great at remembering names of people, so I'm sorry that I can't remember who it was, but if I think of it, I'll let you know. He said, our feelings, our hurt parts, our inner children are not coming to us to be fixed. They're simply coming to be held. And I was just like,
beautiful.
it's so moving. Like even just thinking now,
Yeah.
it's like, it's so simple. It's so simple. So
That's so, I'm gonna write that down. Yeah.
yeah, so if you just
Mm.
maybe imagine taking that part of you, that big emotion that's showing up and saying, hey, overwhelm, come sit on my lap.
Yeah.
Let's just feel this together. And we don't have to fix it or anything. Accept it, love it, let it go. Let it go play, might come back again, say, hey, I'm overwhelmed again. Come on back, right?
Mhm.
So I loved that framing of it. They just, they,
Yeah.
they want to be held. And actually that's true of everybody, right? Anyone that's hurting, any
Yeah.
pain.
And our fixer parts, they're the same parts that try and fix others, right? And like
Yeah.
those people also are just wanting to be held.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Good. Good. I'm glad it was so helpful. Okay, so let's see. That was our topic of the day and our tool of the day. We used an aspectics process, which is just such an amazing process of conversing with the parts that are stuck in us, just screaming to be heard and held. And so that was a great example. And Tyler, you were amazing moving through the whole thing. We started off with that sort of mind dump or clearing, like, what does this mean to you? What comes up when you think about anxiety? And so all these pieces came forward. And then we went through that aspectics and cleared. And Tyler, you went into the space of pleroma, and it's such a feel-good place, as well as having allowed you to have the experience of feeling all those other feelings along the way. So it's not spiritual bypassing. It's not like, I feel really crappy, now I'm going to go do something else and feel really good without processing the feelings. And so I love that this aspect told you to move the energy with movement. And that will bring you the clarity, the peace, the joy, the energy to move forward. And not just like, oh, I'm just holding this giant boulder on my lap of overwhelm and anxiety and, all the stories that come along with that. So these parts are so brilliant, right? Like when we learn to look at them and not be so afraid of them, we just get to hear them out without judgment. It's a beautiful process. I love it. Do you have any questions? or anything?
No, I don't think I have any questions. I loved the process. I loved when I learned, I feel like I got so much out of it. And I feel like even now my body language is just completely different. You know, I just feel so much more relaxed. And what I love about this process is that the way that our brains surprise us, right? Like movement was something that I was very surprised about.
Yeah.
Not, I move a lot and I am an active human. It's more that I never thought about moving through my emotions, right?
Right.
And so isn't it interesting that our parts come up with these wild things that we're like, well, where did you get that from?
Yeah, which kind of proves that it's not like this mind thing that we're thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like we should do this. It's like, oh no, our bodies get to tell us. These parts
Yeah.
get to tell us. It's so beautiful. I love
Wisdom. There's so much wisdom in our bodies.
so much wisdom in our bodies. You're right. And so, how will you celebrate?
I'm gonna move. I'm gonna put in a
What do you
dance. I'm
got
gonna
on?
put some music on and dance and get all these, all the feelings out, all of them, the positive and negative, just let it all.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful. Thank you so much for being the willing volunteer to really work through that process together. I so appreciate it.
absolutely.
Really nice. If anyone wants to know how to work with me in the future, I just ask you to get on a discovery call. Really, that's the simplest way to see how we could work together. To set up a call, you can just go to calendly.com/make change. Very simple. Calendly.com, make change. Or no, calendly.com/make change. And yeah, I'd love to talk with you more about these things. And Tyler, how can people find out more about you and the amazing coaching work you're doing?
Yeah. So you can shoot me an email at queersexcoach@gmail.com. So QUEER, sexcoach@gmail.com.
Queer
That's
Sex
the easiest way.
Coach at
Yeah.
Gmail. Super. Queer Sex Coach at Gmail. I love it. I love what you're doing. I love your presence, and I loved having you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your incredible work. You held me so lovingly. I felt so just relaxed and happy after this. So thank you. You're really amazing at what you do. And I feel so grateful that I got this time.
Oh, super. Thank you so much. So much. I hope you'll come back again for another Tuesday at 2, Thriving Live.
Absolutely.
And I'll see you soon. Thanks
Yes.
so much.
See you
Bye,
soon.
everyone.
Have a great day.
Close up. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Happy dancing.
Yeah.